Okay, before I get started with my explanation, I'd like to point out that ChristianUndCo, the developer of TransitionChooser, has his own explanation about how all this works, and I'll put the link to that in the description. ChristianUndCo is great. I've been talking to him for a few years now. He's a member of my public Discord, which I have linked in my YouTube. So if you want to talk to him, that's a good way to do it. And he'll take pretty much any uh, good suggestion about features, and when he wants to work on it, he will. And he's implemented so many feature requests from me, ideas that I had to streamline how things work, including the ability to add transitions through file selection, which I'm going to show. That's the way that I do things. That was my idea, and he put it in. A lot of developers aren't so willing to just, take ideas from some random guy. So yeah, I really, really respect him for that, and I just want to give him a shout out. He's the one who created Transition Chooser in the first place. None of this would be possible without his idea and his work. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing that I have to explain for this all to make sense is scene changes and scene change detection. So I've got Big Buck Bunny playing right here, and I'll advance one frame in MPV. So there you can see that in between scenes, jump cuts, interpolation is going to warp. It's going to morph the scenes into each other. And in motion, this looks unnatural. It sort of makes every jump cut hang a little bit. The better the VFI, the less of a problem it is, but personally it's pretty annoying. I don't like it. So there's a solution to this. It's called scene change detection. It's an automatic process. It just uses an algorithm that analyzes all the frames ahead and decides which ones are jump cuts, scene changes. The problem with it is that no matter how you adjust it and no matter what algorithm you use, at least so far, you're going to have a lot of frames that are over detected. So it's detected as a scene change when it isn't a scene change, and a lot of frames that are under detected, which means that they are scene changes, but they were detected as, or they weren't detected. They're just interpolated, right? So you're going to get this same effect right here. So you don't want this. The way you get rid of it, once you detect a scene, you're going to double that previous frame. You're going to repeat this once instead of this morph frame right here. And then it's going to do the scene change as normal. It'll just jump, right? The problem is when you get over detection, you repeat the frame and it stutters. And, if there's a pan going on, that'll manifest as a stutter. Just like in video game motion, it just hitches, right? You really don't want that. It ruins the whole thing. Whole point of interpolation is to make the motion clearer and smoother, right? So don't want that. So how do you get around that? Maybe in the future we'll have scene change detection good enough that this is no longer an issue, right? Maybe there's an AI scene change detection, somewhere down the road that can do it automatically. But right now, the way you fix that problem is manually. And there's a program called TransitionChooser, which has a workflow, for that. So basically you take your video, you interpolate it with very fast interpolation like SVFI downscaled, and then you extract the frames of the video so you get them as an image sequence, and then you open that in TransitionChooser, and then you're just going to pick out the individual scene changes, and that's how it works. And my speed with that is about half of real time, a little bit slower than half of real time. So if there's a 2-hour movie, it'll take me about 4, 5, 6 hours to transition choose the whole thing. And then I will output a list from TransitionChooser in the JSON format, and then anyone can use that on the file to get a 100% perfect interpolated result on that video file. Okay, so when I said perfect interpolated result before, I was just referring to the scene change detection, of course, just want to clarify that. The first thing that you do when you're doing transition choosing, you interpolate your video, right? You got to interpolate it by 2x, or you're not going to have a good ground to work on. You don't have to do it in a high resolution. I do it really well downscaled. I just do a 640 by 480 frame in SVP, and that gave me 300 FPS on Rife. If you want it even faster, if you're working with a big movie and you don't have a lot of time, you can use SVP, but it's a little more complicated to turn the scene change detection off in the SVP, right? So I'm using Rife in SVP. That's very easy to configure. You just have to do, in the application settings, you have to put this right here. I've already shown how to do the resize function. I'll show that again though. But Rife SC needs to be at 100 to turn off the scene change detection. Resize 640 by 480. 640/480 is how you write it. And then yeah, you just come in here, you open the file, and you do it by 2x in your Rife profile. And that's going to spit out this right here. Then you can open that in Nmkoder. You just drag it in, do quick convert. You can use any program, but I use Nmkoder. It's pretty simple for this. You just put it on, 16 is good. It'll give you a pretty small size, and it'll go pretty quick. And you don't need, the best quality for this to work. So yeah, it'll work. And then I renamed that folder, put it in a subfolder for the TC project here. I just renamed it Buck because it was this big long name with a bunch of punctuation in it. I don't think that that's good. And I believe that SVP just creates an output that has like one extra or one missing frame on the end, which doesn't matter. As long as your interpolation, you need to check, make sure that your interpolation is creating the correct amount of frames on the beginning of the clip. And if you're working with SVP and SVFI, you don't have to worry about that. You don't need to figure out what the frame counts are. It'll just line up. Because as long as the frame counts line up on the beginning of the clip, you're good. And then there's the offset in SVFI if it doesn't line up, right? So that's that. And then we need to look at the media info. Right, so it says 60.00 frames per second, so that's the actual frame rate. So now you... Okay, so I only noticed this in the editing. In this part in the video, I select 60 FPS. What I should have done is selected 120 FPS if I was actually going to work with this clip, because that's the 2x output. You're not selecting the frame rate of the original clip, which is what I showed. What you're actually doing is selecting the output frame rate. What I should have showed 120 FPS. So yeah, just want to clarify that. You can open up TransitionChooser, right? And then you're going to create 2x, Big Buck Bunny, Buck. Okay, and then you're going to have this frames 2x.ini file. Open it. Okay. Then set 60 and add. Right? then what I do, set new transitions with file selection. So then you're going to be looking through these frames, and whenever there is a jump cut, smooth transitions don't matter. Whenever there's an actual jump cut, you're just going to control click, control left click. So yeah, that's a smooth transition. All good there. No jump cuts yet. Yep, see, this is a smooth ramp, so it is not a scene change. And this is literally it. This is what you do. You scroll through. Then when you find a scene change, it's clearly this frame, because this frame is new. This frame is old. So it's this frame right here. Once you get into the rhythm of this, it's actually very fast. You think that this is going to be very slow and tedious. It's actually not. Once you really get into the rhythm of it, it's actually pretty fun. Because you're looking at the frames of, every frame in one of your favorite, pieces of media, one of your favorite movies or TV shows or whatever. And you just go through and you do this, and you're scrolling pretty fast. So if there's not a lot of scene changes, it goes really fast, and it's just a whole lot of scrolling. The only thing you gotta watch out for is the dark scenes. It's kind of hard to see the jump cuts in the dark scenes, but when I did Spirited Away, I had like over 99.5% accuracy for all the frames in the movie, and I went, half as fast as just watching the movie in real time. So that's how fast it is. Once you get really good at it. And then, yeah, you add those. There you go. It will now double the frames. And so when you're done, I'm not going to do this whole thing because, it's pointless. It's already 60 FPS. And I think you can export this through Blender in a higher frame rate anyway. So I'm not going to actually TC that entire video. Though it wouldn't take that long. It would take 25 minutes or so, probably. Anyway, when you're done, come down here and you do save edited list. And you're going to type big buck bunny.json. Oh, not in the JPEGs folder. You want to go up one. And there you go. Edited list saved. So now you've got the .json format here. Not there. There. Yep. So now you've got this list right here, and you can input this into SVFI and use it to interpolate the video for real this time, right? Right. So it's in the advanced settings in SVFI. So it doesn't matter what ratio that this just corresponds to the ratio you used, which should always be 2x. It doesn't matter what ratio you're outputting, right? So this is set up correctly the way that I'm showing you right here. You can, you can just set it up exactly like that. You're going to select the JSON for the file that you're going to interpolate. Then you're going to, select your original video, obviously not the SVP video, but the original video of Big Buck Bunny in here. And then you'll output it. It's going to come out right, but you do want to check it. If you check debug, then it's going to show a scene marker, right, where it thinks the scene is, and you can use that to calibrate this offset. If you're using someone else's list, this is probably going to be more useful. For example, if you wanted to use my Spirited Away list on maybe a different version of the film, you would put in an offset here, right, instead of the Japanese version, which it was made with. Or if you're starting, sometimes you do have to use this, even if the list matches the file, because if you're starting a chunk, right, if you're resuming interpolation in SVFI, sometimes you'll have to use one frame plus or minus with this offset. And that's everything that you need to know in order to use TransitionChooser. I didn't go over like the specifics of the TC UI, but not a big deal. You can figure it out. If you have any specific questions, then you can join my Discord and, ask, how do I do this? You can join my Discord that I have linked in my YouTube. Okay, finally, we have lists.tc. This is the TransitionChooser Database. This is an idea I had a long time ago, and my friend Joe Bot from my Discord server, amazingly made this a real thing. And it's been up for a while. There's only the lists from my Discord that have been uploaded so far. We haven't had anyone contribute, but that's the idea, is that everyone do, maybe 1-2 of their favorite movies or TV shows, upload the list, and then everyone will be able to download them. So if you view here, you've got, 2 finished movies. I did this one. ChristianUndCo did this one. He's the creator of TransitionChooser. This list is like perfect. This is a benchmark for what TransitionChooser can do. I recommend, if you love Spirited Away, then try this out with GMFSS or UMSS in SVFI. It'll take a while to interpolate. Even if you've got a 3080, it's going to take a long time to interpolate, but it's worth it. You can stop it, and you can run it overnight, stop the interpolation in the middle, and then resume it later. That's what I did. So this is what a TC list looks like. Down at the bottom, you've got the actual frame count, right? And that's it. There's nothing else in here. So it's not like a subtitle file where there's words from the script, this sort of thing. No, it's completely free of any intellectual property. And so it can be freely shared. Anyone can download, upload, whatever you want with TC lists. There's nothing copyrighted about them. So just go ahead, and if you want us to make one for you, then here you go, request form. Who knows if it's a lot of work, so who knows if we'll do it, but there's ideas. And maybe in the future I'll set up a Ko-Fi and I'll do lists that way. Maybe I've thought about that. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. I do have a few ideas with that, and I think that's where I'll end the video. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this.